Then what? Slowly freezing to death as the chill worked up his leg. Or did the suit keep him warm and he died of thirst instead? Horrible way to go. But Cap was a former Marine herself, and not so squeamish as all of that. It took Tolvern a moment to realize that the other woman's light was aimed at something else. It illuminated words carved into the plastic paneling within the man's reach. The fingers of his right hand still gripped a utility knife. Smythe, the tech officer, floated over with controlled bursts from his boots, and he leaned in to record it with a helmet cam.
"Looks like more Old English. What's it say?"
Smythe's voice was tinny in Tolvern's ear. They were still on general comm, and there was a slight delay in responses as everything routed through Blackbeard.
"Should have gone to church, you heathen,"
Cap said. Tolvern translated into the modern dialect. It says, "We have been judged." Saying the words aloud gave her a chill. Judged by whom? For what crime? They continued down the corridor of the ghost ship. The Marines passed around the bend and stopped at an opening in the wall. Lieutenant Cap floated up and came to a halt.
"We got a lift shaft, Captain."
"That should take us to the bridge," Tolvern said. She positioned 3 Marines in the corridor, ordered them to hold position, and sent the rest up the shaft. Didn't expect trouble, in spite of whatever heat source they'd detected from Blackbeard, but they'd faced tricks and traps before, and some involved supposedly abandoned ships. For the same reason, Blackbeard, tethered several miles away from the derelict, had her guns, missiles, and torpedoes at the ready. The Albion battlecruiser would take no chances this far from home. The lift itself was below them in the shaft, which left the way clear to the bridge. Or so Tolvern thought. But when they came out the other side, she found herself not in a command center, but a barracks or human storage compartment of some kind. Dozens of slim, coffin-like pods lined the walls, each one large enough to hold a single body, and connected with a familiar array of hoses and valves. All of it was recognizable human tech, the same sort of stasis system used by any human civilization who wanted to transport troops or colonists without giving them life support around the clock. Slip them in chambers, put them down, and freeze them in stasis gel. Thaw as needed. Tolvern was disappointed. Nearly 6 months had passed since they crossed the inner frontier and began to grope their way toward old Earth. Charts were decades, even centuries out of date, nearly rubbish. Half the jump points were gone, which forced them into detours that took weeks of long, slow crawls across dead systems. No merchant frigates, no warships out here. No humans, Hroom, or Apex. They'd come across a single habitable planet, a little hot but with plenty of water, land, and native vegetation. But if there had ever been settlers there, they'd left no trace. This room looked just as dead. Some of the pods had bodies. The people in them would have simply died as their stasis gel stopped circulating. Would have never known their ship was attacked. Tolvern switched to a local channel and spoke directly to Brockett and Smythe, who had their hand computers out and were checking out a fried computer bank. "Stay here and check out the tech. I'll leave a couple of Marines and take the rest to find the bridge."
"Hold on, Captain," Smythe said. "We found the heat."
"In here?"
"Looks like there's an auxiliary system circulating the gel through the cells."
The tech officer sounded pleased, almost eager. And the way Brockett was fiddling with computer systems on the wall, it seemed the science officer was pretty keen as well. Cap cut in.
"Them blokes are still alive?"
"I'll find out in a minute." A hint of doubt had entered Smythe's voice. He scanned his computer along the outside of one of the cells, then cursed.
"Power, but no circulation. The gel is degraded,"
Brockett announced. He removed a tool from his belt and began pulling bolts from a wall panel.
"It's a known flaw in our stasis chambers, too. Same tech we were using 500 years ago, more or less."
And suddenly Tolvern understood. They'd taken a good hard look at the ghost ship before boarding. Everything was cold on the engines, and there was little in the way of residuals in the power plant. But there had been heat somewhere.
"Someone gonna explain?"
Cap said. "This ship has been wrecked for 30 or 40 years, minimum," Tolvern said. "The insulated core takes that long to cool to background temp, so we know it has been at least that long. It's got a battery or fuel cell running auxiliary, keeping some of this stuff going. Impressive, really. But it wasn't enough to keep these guys..."